Srimad Bhagavatam glass from Dublin Krishna Temple. As soon as I find live video here, then I can be sure that everything is working. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Okay. Are we live or no? Okay. Dublin Krishna Temple is live. Yes, we are live. Welcome everyone. We're going to chant Jaya Radha Madhava. Jayo Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Vraja Jana Ranjana Yashodanandana Praja Jana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo 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 Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Yasam Tato Jayamutidayat Nashtabraishva Bhadrishu Nityam Bhagavati Sevayam Bhagavati Uttamashlake Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki. Krantara Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 8, Prayers by Queen Kunti, Text 25. And this is one of the most famous verses. You might recognize it. Vipada santuda shashvat tatra tatra jagat guru bhavata darshanam yachat apunar bhavatarshanam. We proceed with word for word translation. Vipada, calamities. Santu, let there be. Taha, all. Shashvat, again and again. Tatra, there. Tatra, and there. Jagat Guru, O Lord of the universe. Bhavataha, your. Darshanam, meeting. Yat, that which. Shat, is. Apunaha, not again. Bhavatarshanam, seeing repetition of birth and death. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. I wish that all those calamities would happen again and again, so that we could see you again and again. For seeing you means that we will no longer see repeated births and deaths. Queen Kunti praying here. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Generally, the distressed, the needy, the intelligent, and the inquisitive who have performed some pious activities worship or begin to worship the Lord. Others who are thriving on misdeeds only, regardless of status, cannot approach the Supreme due to being misled by the illusory energy. Therefore, for a pious person, if there is some calamity, there is no other alternative than to take shelter of the lotus feet of the Lord. Constantly remembering the lotus feet of the Lord means preparing for liberation from birth and death. Therefore, even though there are so-called calamities, they are welcome because they give us an opportunity to remember the Lord, which means liberation. One who has taken shelter of the lotus feet of the Lord, which are accepted as the most suitable boat for crossing the ocean of nescience, can achieve liberation as easily as one leaps over the holes made by the hooves of a cat. Such persons are meant to reside in the abode of the Lord, and they have nothing to do with a place where there is danger in every step. This material world is certified by the Lord in the Bhagavad Gita as a dangerous place full of calamities. As less intelligent persons prepare plans to adjust to those calamities without knowing that the nature of this place is itself full of calamities. They have no information of the abode of the Lord, which is full of bliss and without trace of calamity. The duty of the sane person, therefore, is to be undisturbed by worldly calamities, which are sure to happen in all circumstances. Suffering all sorts of unfavorable misfortunes, one should make progress in spiritual realization, because that is the mission of human life. The spirit soul is transcendental to all material calamities. Therefore, the so-called calamities are called false. A man may see a tiger swallowing him in a dream, and he may cry for this calamity. Actually, there is no tiger, and there is no suffering. It is simply a case of dreams. In the same way, all calamities of life are said to be dreams. If someone is lucky enough to get in contact with the Lord by devotional service, it is all gain. Contact with the Lord by any one of the 9 devotional services is always a forward step on the path going back to Godhead. End of purport. Vipada santuta shashvat tatra tatra jagat kuro bhavato darshanam yasyat apunar bhavadarshanam. I wish that all those calamities would happen again and again, so that we could see you again and again. For seeing you means that we will no longer see repeated births and deaths. Om Akyana Timirandasya Kyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manopistam Stapidam Yena Bhutale Svayam Rupakadamayam Datati Svapatantikam Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhyaivacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Sri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Isn't that a relevant verse? For talking about calamities. At the present moment in world history seems like pretty calamitous time. Very turbulent, very unsteady, unstable, unpredictable, uncertain. Therefore, it is very suitable verse to discuss. Prabhupada starts off the purport by saying that the 4 types of pious people will naturally turn to the Lord in a situation of calamity. The distressed, the needy, who want some opulence, the intelligent and the inquisitive, who have performed some pious activities. They naturally have no other alternative. When the cow dung hits the fan, then they turn to the Lord with a sincere feeling, because this is very natural for a pious person. And just the opposite, impious persons, they start either blaming God, why God is just doing this to me, and then find excuse to become agnostic or atheist. That means because God is not satisfying my desires, means there's no God. Like, hello. Yeah, so that is a sign of impious past. If a person come to such conclusions and turn away from God, and actually by this they only increase their miseries in this material world, and they're not moving forward in a path of liberation, they're actually going backwards. So that's not what we want, what we recommend. Interesting, Prabhupada here in purport in many sentences mentions so-called calamities.
Yeah.
Right? You noticed? I saw you listening very attentively to the purport. And so Prabhupada says so-called calamities at least 2-3 times. That refers to a verse we discussed previously a couple months ago, where it was mentioned that all all of the conditioned soul are superfluous, and they are directly mitigated by the linking process of devotional service. But the mass of people do not know this, and therefore Srila Vyasadeva compiled this Vedic literature which is in relation to the supreme truth. So they are superfluous material miseries, calamities go in the same category. They are material miseries. And sort of it means, in that sense, they are so-called, they're illusory. And calamity, let us analyze briefly what it means, calamity. Calamity, you can define calamity as something that happens so quickly that you are observing it while it's happening, but you have no power to either stop it or counteract it or rectify, or just, it's just helpless. You're watching it happening and you cannot do anything. This is calamity. And calamity is not something newly created. Calamity has been existing since the time of beginning of the creation. Calamities, even for the Lord Brahma, in the beginning of creation there was calamity, right? It's just, therefore Prabhupada says it's less intelligent persons prepare plans to adjust to those calamities without knowing that the nature of this place itself is full of calamities. It's like built-in default position of this material world is full of calamities. And yes, but the tendency of a conditioned soul is to, when calamity or misfortune or something approaches you, it's to dodge it, okay, managed to dodge that one. Yeah, but what Queen Kunti in this verse says, she's not trying to dodge it. She says, I wish that that would happen again and again. Materialistic person would never be able to understand what is Queen Kunti saying. It just cannot relate to it. They're just trying to do the opposite. That seems something bizarre, something insane for them. How you can ask calamities again and again? It's like, what? So less intelligent persons prepare plans to adjust to those calamities, which is a waste of time. Because also in Srimad Bhagavatam, fifth chapter of first canto, Narada Muni explains that those who are intelligent and philosophically inclined should endeavor only for that purposeful end, which is not attained even from going from Brahmaloka down to the Patala. Intelligent persons should endeavor something that cannot be found in material world. In other words, spiritual elevation, Krishna consciousness. And he also says, the second part of the verse, that the material miseries and happiness come on their own. You don't need to endeavor for them. Neither material happiness, neither miseries. They come on their own in course of time. So, and then very interesting point Prabhupada makes here. Suffering all sorts of unavoidable misfortunes, one should make progress in spiritual realization, because that is the mission of human life. So, suffering all sorts of unavoidable misfortunes, right? Unavoidable misfortunes. It means that they're bound to come to you. No matter how hard you try to avoid them, they're bound to come. You have to accept misfortunes. It's like guaranteed. But the point here is that one shouldn't lose his focus from spiritual progress. Suffering, it means it really basically says you have to become tolerant and patient, and knowing that sufferings will come. No matter how much material adjustments you make, you cannot legislate them out of existence. And at the same time, keep focus on Krishna. it's quite an interesting challenge that we have. And yes, so the less intelligent person prepare the plans, and Prabhupada even said in one purport that the civilization which doesn't very clearly discuss the calamitous situation of our existence, that type of civilization is most unfortunate, where these calamities are not plainly discussed. And that's material society. You know, like for example the death, you know, everyone just tries to close their eyes, close their ears, you know, regarding the topic of death. But in more advanced civilized cultures, death, it wasn't avoided, it was just discussed, you know, very openly and very philosophically. So, very unfortunate civilization. Yeah, a tiger. A man may see a tiger swallowing him in a dream, and he may cry out for this calamity. Actually, there is no tiger, there is no suffering. It is simply a case of dreams. In the same way, all calamities of life are said to be dreams. Yeah, so it's hard to accept that when you are in that calamity, right?
Yeah.
You're in a trouble, and then but the calamities affect us only because they affect our body. Calamity means it's in relation to your body, because our body is such a fragile little instrument, right?
Yes.
There you go. Anantani Prabhu just hit his toe, damaged his. So, yeah, you know, the body is so fragile, it can get damaged or diseased or injured at any moment, destroyed. Either whether you hit your toe or whatever other calamity happens, it happens for a reason, and it has a message. The message is very simple. This place is not for our enjoyment. This is not our home. This is the ultimate message there. But by the nature, living entity wants eternal, never-ending, ever-increasing happiness. This is nature of jiva. And then in this world, we constantly run into just the opposite. You know, some obstacles to our never-ending enjoyment, the miseries. So, but Queen Kunti is saying something out of this world. I wish that all those calamities would happen again and again. Let us try to understand Queen Kunti. What is she saying? Well, if we are feeling ourselves very comfortable in this world, very, very kind of successful materially, you know, everything goes according to our plans, the tendency is not to take shelter of Krishna very, very sincerely, very intensely. This is the tendency of conditioned soul. Because, you know, it all goes, you know, according to my plan, and I'm doing pretty well, and no, Krishna is nice. It's no doubt. Krishna is nice, but you know, I'm also pretty great, you know, because you feel you're accomplishing so many things and sorting out this one, and then you know, making things happen, and you know, you feel like you're the doer. And as soon as something happens, some calamity where everything in your life starts to fall apart, and then Krishna, help! I'm nothing. So this is the mentality that Queen Kunti is afraid of. That's why she's saying, I wish that all those calamities would happen again, so that I will not be under this illusion, in this Maya, that I'm great and I can sort things out myself, I can protect myself. and then thus forget Krishna. That's what she's trying to avoid. Amazing. So someone could read that, materialistic person could read, I wish that all those calamities would happen again and again. Is she a masochist?
Mm-hmm.
Right. I want more suffering. No, that's not the case. That's not what it's about. That's not what Queen Kunti. Actually, she doesn't ask for calamities. What she wants is to remember Krishna always. That's what she's. And whatever facilitates that, whatever helps. This is good. I accept that. So this is the mood. Not exactly. The point is not about suffering and calamities. But interesting. There's interesting paradox, contradiction here. Queen Kunti is revealing when there are calamities and sufferings, they force us to remember Krishna, and as soon as we remember Krishna, there's no more calamities. So like interesting. So yeah, so this is. And then, but still, Krishna. Why Krishna is putting devotees into calamitous situations? We can ask, right? Come on, I'm devotee. I chant Hare Krishna, and I still have so much trouble. Even maybe even more than previously. Before I chanted Hare Krishna and associated with devotees. I don't know. You met somebody or heard something like that?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just often happens. But and there's a reason also why this is like that. Why is Krishna doing this to me? But Krishna is like expert surgeon. He's so expert. He knows how to surgically remove any false concept that we want to take shelter of. Coming from materialistic lifestyle, conditioned life, we have so many, still maybe some misconceptions, lingering misconceptions, illusory ideas of how to be happy in this world. So Krishna surgically removes those illusory ideas by causing some calamity in devotee's life, and this forces devotee to become introspective first of all, and then to take shelter of Krishna. And even though the calamities, difficulties happen to devotees, ultimately Krishna has a purpose, obviously, why he arranges that, and Krishna will help that devotee to be victorious in the end. And which way? By facilitating the process of smaranam, the remembrance of Krishna. So this is victory. As Prabhupada says here, if someone is lucky enough to get in contact with the Lord by devotional service, it is all gain. Okay? Contact with the Lord by any one of 9 devotional services is always a forward step on the path going back to Godhead. It's always a gain. So if we find ourselves in calamity where we are forced to think of Krishna, that means smaranam automatically. Smaranam, all gain. If you're just able to remember this point in the moment of calamity, our vision will change. Our perception of things will change. Yeah, so it is, when they say when life throws lemons at you, you make lemonade. And offer it to Krishna. Yes, we're celebrating Prabhupada's Vyasa Puja Day. Remember, we reciting the offerings, and I liked very much the point that Rosie was making, that this quote from Prabhupada, and Prabhupada said to one of his disciples that this material life is like a hard block of wood, and then success of our life is if by the end of life we're able to carve Krishna out of this hard block of wood. Very nice. Good analogy for carpenters and woodworkers. They can relate to this. Yes, so there's some actually some nice quotes posted by Prabhupada, which about yes, about devotees, how they relate to calamities. So Prabhupada says, a pure devotee of the Lord accepts tribulations as favors from the Lord. Since the Lord is absolute, there is no mundane difference between the two. Wow. Pure devotee accepts tribulations as favors from the Lord. Because the Lord is absolute, there is no mundane difference between the tribulations and favors. It's amazing. What an elevated vision. Wow. So, when the devotees are put into difficulty, they have an opportunity to recollect the Lord with rapt attention. Another from 15th chapter of 1st Canto. Right. When devotees are put into difficulty, they have opportunity to recollect the Lord with rapt attention. So, well, you can say that opportunity is always there, right? Yes, it is there, but who will take it? Unless you're forced to take it, or you're put into difficulty. This is a tendency of materialistic living entity, or partially conditioned soul. Even those who are on a path back to Godhead, it's a gradual process, so it takes time. And then Prabhupada said to his disciples, Western disciples, that problem with you is you're not afraid of Maya, right? So Queen Kunti shows the perfect example of being afraid of Maya. And the worst Maya in that case is to forget Krishna because of feeling too comfortable in this world. Cozy yoga. Yeah, so this is the danger. Therefore, as I said, materialistic person will not be able to relate to this prayer. But you could compare, like Queen Kunti is asking, I wish that calamities would happen again so that we will no longer see repeated births. You know, one sense she's like asking for liberation. Please give me, Lord, please grant me liberation. Same time, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is praying, na dhanam na chanam na sundarim, kavitam vajagatisha kamai, mama chanmani ishvare, right? Pavatat bhakti rahaitu. That birth after birth, I only what I desire is to render devotional service. But Queen Kunti is asking for liberation. So, hey, what's going on? Is she not pure devotee?
I brought the question up to Murli, the devotee once about this, but I did it in connection with Prabhupada. So Prabhupada said, "No one must get out in one lifetime. You can get out in one lifetime." And then that verse with Lord Chaitanya saying, "All I want is causeless devotional service, birth after birth." So that it's a bit of a contradiction. And then his answer was, whatever Krishna wants. Krishna wants just to stay here, and fine, you stay here. If you want to go back to God.
Right.
That's his answer. Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah, but that's one answer. But obviously not. Queen Kunti may be a difference of attitude.
Yeah, that's right. There's different attitudes. One Lord Chaitanya is one attitude, and Queen Kunti, because when one disciple expressed his nice sentiment to Srila Prabhupada, that Srila Prabhupada, I want to stay here life after life, just assist you in your mission, stay here preaching Krishna consciousness life after life.
Prabhupada said,
Prabhupada said, yeah.
I don't think that is balanced. Is that the one?
Yeah, Prabhupada said basically, that's very nice, but the devotee brought the example of Lord Chaitanya, brought the example this Chanmani Ishware, this verse, and then Lord Prabhupada said, this is for Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, but you should go back to Godhead. This is for Lord Chaitanya. So in that sense, it's not wrong what Queen Kunti is saying.
Because we don't desire to go back to Godhead, that's the problem. We're too, well, I'm just generalising.
Right.
But in general, we're too comfortable here.
Right.
Unless we can perceive it. When the calamities do come, then that'll shake us up.
Right. So calamity is, in one sense, the greatest mercy of the Lord, right? Yeah. And Prabhupada says, they have no information, less intelligent persons who want to stay here, they have no information of the abode of the Lord, which is full of bliss and without trace of calamity. They have no information.
Yeah,
people, you said, why we, because we feel comfortable. That's why we have no desire to go back to the kingdom of God, because we feel comfortable here. But at least we have information.
Yeah.
Other people even don't have that, right? It's, and very nicely you said that calamities are shaking us up, shaking, us out from this coziness, this casualty, and therefore, let's see what Prabhupada says. This is for advanced devotees. This is from chapter of Lord Bhishma Dev in first canto. Next chapter, actually. The Lord says, I put my devotee into difficulty, and thus the devotee becomes more purified in exchanging transcendental bhava with me. Placing the devotee into material troubles means delivering him from the illusory material relations. Wow. It's brilliant, yeah. So next time trouble comes, just remember those Prabhupada's quotes, and then you feel, instead of being
honored.
you feel honored, you feel fortunate, you feel
such an honor.
Exactly, yes.
Amazing.
You feel grateful because well, especially lately I see so many devotees I know personally, either Prabhupada disciples or even God brothers, God sisters, they leave body. Last couple of months, like amazing, so many. Somebody got cancer, somebody got this disease, that disease, accident. They leave bodies, really. So one may say that, Lord says that He will protect His devotees, so He doesn't seem to fulfill His promise.
He doesn't say protect the body.
Yes, good. Because the material body itself is designed to die. It's designed to have a beginning and an end.
Yeah.
So yes, you're correct. Lord Krishna doesn't say nothing will ever happen to your body because you're my devotee. No, that's not the thing. But Krishna will always protect your soul, because the soul has to leave the body one point anyway. Like I could pretty confidently guarantee that anyone who is in this room here and anyone who is even watching it online right now will probably not be in the same body after 100 years from now.
How could you say such a thing?
I'm sorry if I offended anybody. I'm sorry, Ananta Nitai Prabhu, please forgive me. Ananta Nitai Prabhu is offended. Apologies.
How could you say such a thing?
But I'm pretty confidently saying this. And yes, so the point is, what did I say this?
Calamities.
Yes,
the body protecting the body.
Right. The bodies have to go anyway, but Krishna protects the soul. And if something some apparent misfortune happens to a devotee, we may not realize, we may not understand this looking from the side, we may not even like it. Why this happened? He was such a nice devotee. Why, untimely death or whatever injury or accident happened. We are not in a position to understand that. But whatever happens, we can be sure, especially if devotees die untimely, that Krishna has another service for that devotee somewhere else. And Krishna has a purpose, he has a plan. So we do not need to worry. Why? Because, again, Prabhupada says nicely, tribulations offered by the Lord to his devotees are different from the tribulations resulting from vicious action. Same point. It's not because of bad karma or something that devotees suffer and have difficulties, calamities. It's not because of karma. It's because, they're different from karma. At the same time, Prabhupada says, the devotees of the Lord are never in danger. But in the material world, which is full of dangers at every step, the devotees are apparently placed into dangerous positions. And when they are saved by the Lord is glorified. But in that sense, devotees are always saved by the Lord. Right? For that reason, we just discussed that the body will die anyway, but the soul is saved by the Lord. Yes, so one sense, biggest calamity for devotees is not that something happens to the body. Biggest calamity is if you forget Krishna, right? Become covered by illusory energy, and then forget your relationship with Krishna. Forget that you're eternal servant. You have loving relationship with Krishna, and then how this calamity can happen? How this forgetfulness can take place? It's mostly by association with materialistically minded people, with wrong association, because our tendency, our nature is, as a marginal energy, we are very vulnerable. We're very much influenced by our surroundings, by our association. And if people with whom we associate they are very enthusiastic about something, then naturally we become enthusiastic about the same thing. This is just a law of nature, and we cannot avoid that. So therefore, really, it's so crucial to carefully choose your association, and avoid materialistic association, and that way we can avoid that calamity, greatest calamity, forgetting Krishna, or for that matter, stopping practicing Krishna consciousness, getting sidetracked, distracted, and you can say greatest calamity. And the next verse, tomorrow's verse, is another epic, another famous one. Chanmaishvarya Shruta Sribir Edamana Madabhuvan Naivar Hatya Vidhatum Vaitvam Makinchana Gocharam. Yeah, my Lord, your Lordship can easily be approached only by those who are materially exhausted. Yeah. One who is on a path of material progress, trying to improve himself with respectable parentage, great opulence, high education, and bodily beauty, cannot approach you with sincere feeling. So these four things, four so-called blessings of material piety, right? High birth, high education, great riches, and bodily beauty. These four things can be another misfortune or another reason to forget Krishna, because this is the Maya trick. Maya trick is to, if you have these four opulences, or even some of them, it's Maya's trick which you're almost like illusory energy forces you to identify your body with much more. Almost, it's because you have those facilities to enjoy this world. So you're more forced to think of you're the body, this life is meant for enjoyment, let's go for it. Anyway, something else? What can we say? Yeah, I just remember one thing. When I was studying in Mayapur, my Bhakti Shastra course, just a couple weeks before the final exams, I got some heavy infection because of broken tooth. Some infection went in, and it was so intense. During one morning Bhagavatam class, I started to lose consciousness. Almost passed out. My godbrother took me out from a classroom, and found some ambulance and took me to a nearby city, closest town, to the doctor. And so anyway, they gave me some bunch of antibiotics, but after taking the antibiotics, it didn't improve. Actually, it got worse even. So what happened? My jaw stopped completely functioning because of the infection. The shock caused by infection, like totally, cramped the jaw muscle. I wasn't able to open the mouth anymore. So I wasn't able to eat anything by chewing. I could only drink a little bit, maybe dal at the best, but like it juices only because you're not able to chew. It's like, and then the dentist had no access because the jaw didn't open. Had no access to fix the problem, because it's just totally closed, and then plus on top of that, there's high fever for many days, very high fever, and so I was really thinking, okay, that's it, and all the devotees who came to see me in my room, I started to beg forgiveness for all the offenses because I was sure, that's it, off we go. But one senior devotee, he came to visit also and asked, "Are you praying to Lord Nrsingadev?" And I hey, I've been singing Lord Nrsingadev prayers. We sing every morning at least once in the morning and maybe in the evening and a couple of times a day for years. But when he asked this question, that's like first time. Hey, maybe I should do that, actually. And in a mood of taking shelter of Lord Nrsingadev, asking his help, and then I started doing that, and then most amazing experience. When previously I chanted Lord Nrsingadev prayers thousands of times, while chanting those prayers in the mind, I felt absolutely dependent on the mercy of the Lord. And then I realized, to the degree that we feel absolutely dependent on the grace of the Lord, to that degree that this loving exchange will take place within our heart, between the Lord and us. It's like such a revelation, such realization. So I realized that to that degree we feel absolutely dependent, to that degree so this feeling of dependency on the Lord is, one sense, the most beautiful ecstasy of the soul, because that's when the power is being exchanged with the Lord. And then after that, I could relate to what Kunti is saying. I wish that all those calamities would happen again, so that we could see you again and again, because that exchange, what you experience during the greatest calamities with the Lord, is the sweetest thing.
So that's what you experienced there?
Yes.
Wow.
Right.
And so you say, that was excruciating pain, the experience, the exchange, the spiritual experience.
It's invaluable. Yes.
It's the pain is insignificant compared to the spiritual experience.
Right. The spiritual experience is priceless. And tolerating this calamity, health calamity, or dental calamity, or whatever you call it.
It's like when Bhakti Maharaj said, obviously he went through so many suffering with the cancer and stuff when he was leaving his body. And he said at one point, he doesn't get better than this.
I know, yeah. Yeah, right.
He
said, amazing. Bhakti Maharaj said, before dying, amazing, amazing. Can't get it better than that. Amazing. It's like, whatever Krishna is revealing to him, in some spiritual vision, or maybe, in many cases, the devotees just before dying, or even a couple of days before dying, start seeing or realizing their spiritual form. Like Nirguna Prabhu, book distributor, Srila Prabhupada disciple. He left body in Mayapur some years ago. And then the caretakers, Harishari Prabhu was one of them, and they were telling how he started to, the revelations of his spiritual body were revealed to him, sometime before leaving the body. That's amazing. How fortunate are devotees, right? This one to fish. Many writers and philosophers have written books on death, and then one writer gave a definition of death. Death is death. It means when the end of perpetuating relationships. The permanent, how to say some fancy words, permanent cessation of perpetuating relationships. This is what death is. But in the case of devotees, during this life here, we associate devotees, we do service, we do, deity worship, we cook for Krishna, we decorate Krishna, we sing the holy name of Krishna. We just do day in and day out. We do these devotional activities, these 9 processes of devotional service. And when the death comes, nothing much changes. We're going to continue same activities in a different place. So basically, it's not perpetuation of relationships. I mean, it's not stopping. Relationship continues. So this is very nicely refuted, defeated this argument.
I remember when an incident where I was drowning off the coast of Tenerife, and then I shouted to the devotee called Sham, because help me, I'm drowning, or whatever. And Sham was saying to me, he says he couldn't believe it was happening, which is interesting. Right. But the main thing was we were there to have a bit of pleasure in one sense, swimming.
Just for fun, yeah.
A bit of fun, But then it start reminding the material world isn't here for our enjoyment. and then I realised that Satchidananda Swami, he the same thing happened to him in the same place, but he remembered Krishna, obviously, because he was in, obviously very advanced devotee, and that he was calling out to Krishna and remembering Krishna, sort of thing, But me, I was just struggling to get a breath, or whatever. But it's interesting that it gave me that insight that you really got to start preparing for that moment. I mean, luckily I survived, because I was 99.999% sure that was it, and because I was swallowing water and I was going unconscious. And then I put my foot down. I went down what I thought was the last time, and then my foot hit the ledge, this ledge, and then I was able to on the atoll, and then I was able to get up, to walk up, and then someone grabbed me and took me back to the beach, but it was
near-death experience.
It was a near-death experience.
Wow.
Very close, really close. And then I was shaking afterwards because the body was in shock. But I always thought swimmers, I thought when you drown, you asphyxiate, you don't, you go unconscious.
But I don't think only your body was in shock. I'm sure emotionally also you were shaken, because near-death experience, that sense, it can be a greatest mercy, greatest blessing, near-death experience. It can accelerate your seriousness.
That's right.
Right, in Krishna consciousness.
Because in a couple of, say, a year after, you think, well, I may not have been here,
Right.
I'm only here with Krishna's mercy.
See if we have comments and questions today. No. don't see any comments, questions, but maybe they are here, but yes. Anyway, very relevant topic. Yeah, okay. I don't see any comments, questions. At least this laptop doesn't show any. So I end up here. In case there are some, then I can answer later. Krantaraj, Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Gaur Premanande. Thank you.